Hi, good evening. Welcome back, and thanks for being here with us this time on the next to last day of September. October rolls in for the weekend. So does some warmer air, maybe after your Saturday. Upper level low pressure keeping us in a unsettled weather pattern for the next several days, but there is some warmer air and sunshine to make a return, and we'll outline that timeline for you in just a few moments. Before I go any further, a very special birthday wish tonight to a young man who's not going to hear it because we actually taped the program a few minutes early so we could blow out some candles in honor of my now 14-year-old son. Celebrating 14 years is one of the most precious young men I know, and we're so glad and thrilled and blessed to have him in our lives every day. 14 years old today. Happy birthday to our Andrew. With that said, we'll be taking a look at Andrew's test scores, not individually or specifically, mind you, but as a whole, as a student of the Magoffin County school system. As test scores were released by the Kentucky Department of Education earlier today, we're going to break them down, look at Magoffin, Johnson, and Paintsville independent school numbers in just a few seconds, actually, and tell you much more about them. An auto accident that resulted in a DUI arrest early this morning, and a little insight into tomorrow's program before I leave you. As we start to take a look at test scores, they have been released today. The initial batch of data, more to come in a few days hereafter, approximately a week, and we'll have another follow-up then with a closer look. But there were about 802 schools and 138 out of the 173 school districts that have tested as either proficient or distinguished this time around. There were 461 schools statewide that were also classified as needing improvement, some of those here in the viewing area. 298 testing as classified and proficient, and 504 as distinguished, that between all the schools across the entire state of Kentucky. The college or career readiness rate increased 68.5% versus 66.9 last year. The graduation rate also increased 88.6, up from 88 the year prior. Taking a look at the state as a whole, the state averaged for all students testing at a 67.7. That's up 6/10 from 67.1 the year prior. That puts the state as a whole in the proficient category for all of its more than 655,000 students. To take a look and break down into some general categories for the top 10 elementary schools across the Commonwealth, the third on the top 10 list, Betsy Lane in Floyd County, at a 94. May Valley in Floyd, 91.8, came in 5th in the state. Allen Elementary in Floyd County came in 9th in the state at 89.6. Easdale Elementary in Morgan County came in at the 10th spot in elementary schools at 89.2. In the bottom 10 for elementary schools, nothing from eastern Kentucky, I believe all from central and western parts of the state. The elementary school with the biggest improvement, Betsy Lane, jumped 33.4 points, the most improved elementary. Cordia in Knott County jumped 24.4. Duff in Floyd 24.3. The top 10 middle schools coming in at number 1, John M. Stumbo in Floyd County at 89.4, and coming in at number 5, Betsy Lane Middle in Floyd County, 85.6. The most improved middle school was Cordia in Knott County at 27.3. As for the bottom 10 high schools, Cordia in Knott County at 63.9, but they were also the most improved. Yeah, a little bit of double duty there, so to speak, and not really conflicting data, but Cordia in Knott County, the bottom 10 as far as high schools, but however, they had picked up and were in the most improved high schools as well. The biggest decline in high schools, Lawrence County, dropping 10.5 points, coming in at number 2. Betsy Lane dropping 8 points in high school data. The top 10 school districts, Murray Independent, number 1, 85.6. Floyd County came in at number 6 at 80.3 for the district as a whole. In the bottom 10 districts, number 8 from the bottom is Breathitt County at 61.7. 10th from the bottom is Lawrence County at 62.6. So that gives you some numbers to compare the following schools to, that being Magoffin County, Johnson County, and Paintsville Independent as a district as a whole. Magoffin County tested at 66.8 versus 65.1 last year, so an increase for Magoffin County schools. That puts the district as a whole as proficient, we believe, for the first time. For Johnson County schools, for the district, 74.2, an increase of over 69.1 from the year before. They are considered a distinguished school. Paintsville Independence also seeing a modest increase, 76.4 versus 72.3, a distinguished school, also a progressing school. So with all that in mind, we'll take a look at Magoffin County School first. Speaking with Magoffin County School Superintendent Scott Helton, now about 3 months on the job, we spoke of the ups and downs in the scores for each of the elementary, middle, and high schools in Magoffin County, with the overall score, as we referred to just a second ago, 66.8 from 65.1, being positive news for the school district.
As a district, very pleased. This is the first year that I'm aware of that we are considered a proficient district. Our overall score increased a few percentage points, and those few points allowed us to become a proficient district. That's not to say that we don't have areas that we need to improve in, but we're heading in the right direction. And we have some schools that are doing a little bit better than some of the others, but that's not to say that all of our schools aren't working hard. It's a matter of the way that they're scored on certain things, and certain areas of testing our schools are performing really well in, and then there's certain areas that we need to look at. But overall, as a district, we're proficient. We have some schools that are considered progressing schools, proficient schools, and then we have some that are considered to be need improvement. That's just a way that we measure the overall scores that are presented to us from the results that were given to us from the state. And I want to stress one thing. As a school principal or as a leader of the district, test scores are very important, but they're not the overall measurement of how good a school is or how well a school is performing or doing. But we have to have some form of measurement to compare us with everyone else. But we have some really good people in our district working hard. It's not about a matter about working and how hard we're working. What I'm going to try to work with in the next few years is that we use that energy to work towards a common goal, and we're all going to come together. And if we're all working together and we're trying to do the things that will benefit our children, I see great things happening. And when I talk about coming together, it's creating a curriculum and working through areas of concerns that one school might have versus another school, and we'll try to see if this school's performing well in this, and why aren't we doing the same thing or doing something similar over here. So our teachers are working now. We're bringing our teachers together to create a curriculum and working on the elementary K through 2 part of it right now, trying to get those things aligned and worked out. But taking this data, we will take the data at the school level. I'll have the principals and the teachers kind of get together, and they'll dissect it, go through and look at it, and then we'll kind of come together as a district and look at it. Then I'll have myself and some of my district staff people meet at each school and go over the results.
As we take a look at each of the Magoffin County schools' scores individually, we'll begin with the 3 elementary schools. We'll have comparisons between the testing results from the last school year, 2015-16, and the year before, 14-15. Beginning with the Sayersville Grade School, which saw the most significant drop from the year prior. Sayersville Grade School score for the most recent testing period was 57, a 12.4 point drop from the year before, where they stood at 69.4. That puts them in a needs improvement classification. Another elementary school in Magoffin County also saw declines, that being South Magoffin Elementary on a lesser scale. The most recent testing score for the school as a whole, 66.7 versus last year's 72, which also puts South Magoffin in the classification of needs improvement. North Magoffin Elementary was the only school to show gains on this testing period, 70.4 versus 65.4 for the last year. That puts them in a classification of proficient and progressive school. Looking at Harold Whitaker Middle School and Magoffin County High School test scores, both showed improvements. While the Harold Whitaker Middle School is still classified as a needs improvement school, they are also considered a progressing school, as they picked up their score by more than 6 points, 59.5 versus the year prior's 53.4. With the Magoffin County High School showing significant progress, busting the 70th percentile by adding 5 points to their testing scores overall, 72 versus 67. That puts Magoffin County High School firmly in the proficient progressing classification, and it also classifies them as a focused school in Kentucky. Starting with middle and high school, they were still living in most unusual circumstances during all this testing, but both showed improvement.
When you look at those two schools, it's amazing that they did as well as they did. I don't think we slowed down enough, and we didn't have time to slow down enough to understand just what kind of stress and what kind of pressure that we put on the students, the staff, and the parents by being in one building, trying to run two different schools out of one building. Those people did an excellent job just to get through the year, and they did this for 4 years. Looking at their overall scores, our middle school and high school did a good job, did a really good job for us. Not to say that they can't improve, but when you look at their scores, they did a good job, and especially under the circumstances that they were handed.
And going on down to the elementary level, ups and downs?
We have some ups and downs. We had one of our elementaries did they're progressing school, doing pretty good. The other two declined a little bit, one more than the other, but I still see good things going on in all of our elementary schools. But that comes back to what I was talking about. We will look at the data, we'll look at the areas that we need to focus on, and use our resources and the things that the district can help them with. I want to say that our principals have been working really good with me. They understand that they have a tough job to do, and believe me, no one knows more about being a principal than I do. It's a tough job, but they have a lot of pressure. They have a lot of pride in what they do, and I feel confident that that we'll see each of our elementary schools show progress this coming year.
Hilton says they'll be using the coming days to analyze and go over volumes of data that came in test scores that were released today. There'll be more public data released in the next few days or week or so to come that will be able to shed some more light and more finite scope, if you will, on how each school did and what their focus areas are going to be. He says that they already have plans for each elementary school and middle and high school principal to address the board and talk about the areas where they need to see more improvement than others, and they'll be presenting a plan to the Board of Education on that basis at the October or November regular session of the Board of Education. Moving on to Johnson County schools within the Johnson County School District, we'll begin with their 6 elementary schools. The first being Central Elementary, which showed an improvement, a vast improvement of 85.3 versus 61.9 the year prior. That classifies Central Elementary as a distinguished school and a progressing school. It also classifies them as a school of distinction and a high progressing school as well. Flat Gap Elementary showing significant gains, over 12 points. 77.8 versus the year prior's 65.0. That classifies them as a distinguished school and a progressing school and a school of distinction. Highland Elementary, 78.2 versus 63.5, another huge gain that also classifies them as a school of distinction as well as a high progressing school and a distinguished and progressing school as well. Meade Elementary, a 77.4 versus a 75.2, more than a 2-point gain. That classifies Meade Elementary as a distinguished and progressing school as well as a school of distinction in the rewards category. Porter Elementary, another big gain for Johnson County schools, 84.3 versus 67.6. That classifies them as a distinguished and progressing school, and for the rewards and assistance category, a school of distinction and a high progressing school. W.R. Castle was the only elementary school to show some decline, 74.9 versus 85.7. However, they are still to be considered a distinguished school. While Johnson County middle school students tested below their score for last year, falling almost 8 points or so to a 62.3 versus a 71.1 the year before. That does classify them as a needs improvement school for this round of testing. While for the Johnson Central High School, they picked up almost 2 points, 73.8 versus the year prior's testing score of 71.9. That does declare Johnson Central High School a proficient school on the state level. And lastly tonight, taking a look at Paintsville Independent Schools in the elementary grades, an 81.2 over a 10-point gain for elementary school students in the Paintsville Independent School District, 81.2 versus 69.1. That gives them a classification of a distinguished and a progressing school and also declares them a school of distinction. For Paintsville middle schoolers, they tested a bit below last year's testing at 69.3 versus 73.5. That does, however, keep them in the proficient category. while for Paintsville high school students, they too also fell a little less than 2 points, 74.5 versus the year prior's 76.1. However, that too still keeps them declared a proficient school on the state level. For high-speed internet starting at 15 meg for all of your gaming, movie, home, and business solutions, or to watch TV, including your favorite local channels without a contract with hundreds of channels and digital and HD quality, and to stay connected 24/7 with friends and family, a direct line to 911, or to give your business the link it needs, choose telephone service you know is always there. Just click on their link on this site to find out how affordable the latest technology in communications can be. Foothills Communications. A single vehicle crash this morning sent 2 juveniles to the hospital and sent 1 young man to the hospital as well for serious injuries. He also, however, was charged with driving under the influence with aggravating circumstances before leaving the scene. This is some video brought back to the studio of an early morning accident about 9:30, 9:40 this morning on 867. Just before you get to Tip Top, a pickup truck was leaving off the hill at Tip Top, a male behind the wheel that lost control on rain-slickened roads. Also, though, the accident believed to be possibly the result of an alcohol or drug-related crash as well. Magoffin County Sheriff's Deputy Jonathan Holbrook noted in his police citation that he charged Timothy Porter Jr. with driving under the influence with aggravated circumstances as he was behind the wheel of this pickup truck. Reportedly, he admitted to Officer Holbrook that he had been under the influence of drugs possibly and or alcohol before or during the crash. He also had with him 2 juveniles which were out of the vehicle upon arrival of emergency personnel. Porter himself was also out of the vehicle upon arrival of emergency personnel, but we are told that when the vehicle did flip over onto its side, his arm had gone out the window and was pinned between the truck and the pavement or earth, and that a motorist or passerby, someone, actually helped free his arm. It also suffered serious and traumatic injury. Had weather permitted, they would have life-flighted him to a trauma center. However, the TranStar ambulance service was cleared due to the severe injuries to his arm to drive him to not the closest medical center, which law usually requires, but to the Pikeville Medical Center, which is a trauma center for the severity of his injuries. Holbrook also noted that other charges were possible. As for the 2 female juveniles, they were taken due to their age and no legal guardian on site to the Paulby Hall Medical Center, where they were checked out at that facility. More news in a moment. Right now, announcements per your Magoffin Farm Bureau community calendar. The Stinson United Baptist Church wants to invite everyone to their fellowship meeting this Sunday evening at 6. Everyone's invited, from Pastor Joey Carroll and everyone else at the Stinson United Baptist Church, Sunday at 6. If you are one of those folks who would like to set up a table at the upcoming Christmas in November Arts and Crafts Show in the Lloyd M. Hall Community Center in downtown Sagersville, the show is November the 4th and 5th. You've got till October the 28th to register. You can do so by calling Community Center Director Susie Salyer at 349-4409 or 349-2213. A reminder that they're picking and a grinning this Saturday evening at 7 at Kearney Free Will Baptist Church with Anointed Hearts and everyone else from Kearney Free Will, hoping that you'll join them too. The annual Harvest Festival, almost twisted that one backwards, at the Lakefront Church of God is this Saturday. Gospel music, hog roast, silent auction, prizes, crafts, carnival games, and more. It's an huge annual fall event. Their Harvest Festival is this Saturday. And if you've got a birthday, an anniversary, or an announcement like you just heard, you want it on the show, all you have to do is get it to us. Tell me, I'll tell everyone else about it. Doesn't cost a dime. Just got to get it to the studio, one way or the other. Brought to you by the Magoffin County Funeral Home, funeral services for the viewing area, beginning with a reminder of services for 61-year-old Michael Gene Cole of Sagersville, who was married to Juanita Adams Cole, who preceded him in death. He is survived by his brothers Robert and Lawrence Gray and sisters Wabel Baldridge and Lena Reisner. Visitation continues this evening and up until services, which will start tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, all from the Sagersville Funeral Home. It says incomplete on your screen, but I have just received a complete funeral listing for 77-year-old Basil Howard of Lick Creek Road, who passed away on today's date. He was married to Betty Ann Williams Howard, who survives. He's also survived by sons Holly Ray and Jeffrey Howard. Visitation is going to be after 3 o'clock tomorrow, all day Saturday, and then up until services start Sunday morning at 11. All visitation and services from the Bloomington United Baptist Church. Burial will be at the Howard Cemetery at Lick Creek. The Magoffin County Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Work-ready declaration in Magoffin County as that meeting began at 4:30. We'll have that report to follow and some other news that we're closely watching and may have more information or details on by the time I see you back here tomorrow night. I'm off to celebrate with my little boy and his birthday and the rest of the family. However, I want to leave you with this, your weather forecast. That is, of course, powered by Licking Valley RECC. With central Kentucky close to the central portion of a big upper level low just kind of swirling around, we here in the viewing area in eastern Kentucky have been getting in on some of the moisture attributed from that. Not so much at this hour, but we've seen some considerable rain. I actually picked up almost 7/10 of an inch today from the rainfall that we have seen, and we may see a bit more throughout the rest of your evening. Your forecast calling for about a 50% chance and a low of 61 tonight. And, yeah, I'm double checking that because that's an obvious typo. That should be 51. My apologies, because I was say it's already 59, so we already cracked that threshold. Sorry. 51, cloudy skies, 50% chance of showers for your Friday. Can you believe it's Friday already? Mostly cloudy skies continuing. Temperatures warming a bit up to 70, 48 for the nighttime low. Your chance of showers, isolated showers, I think, in the morning before 11 a.m. To the tune of about 20% by tomorrow night. Looking kind of dry for your Saturday. We'll get into some more sunshine, glad to report. We'll also see a 20% chance of showers maybe in the afternoon around 2 p.m. Not a great one. I'm not even really comfortable putting that in there. I'm hoping for a dry Saturday start to finish. We'll know more in 24 hours, but definitely some sunshine in mid-70s for the first half of your weekend. It's going to be hit and miss just how long this low pressure kind of takes to get out of here as to if we'll see any rain on your Saturday, but it's in the mix. I'm just hoping for the best. We'll know tomorrow. I know tonight with a great deal of certainty that we're not going to worry about any rain thereafter. Sunday, in fact, mostly sunny and 75, sunny and 77 on your Monday. Tuesday, sunny and 78. Guess what? It's 75, 77, 78, 79 on your Wednesday. Temperatures even climbing to maybe 79, 80 again on your Thursday of next week with nothing but sunshine and clear skies from Sunday on through maybe all of next week. A beautiful week ahead. That'll do it for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you back here next time.